Now, it's not always just exercising, what we eat also matters. So, the next topic would be about eat, diet, repeat. So, how do we translate our food habits to a surgeon? And for that, we have the head of the Department of Pediatric Ophthalmology and Glaucoma, Joshi Eye Institute, Hubli, Dr. KRISHNA Prasad sir with us.
Good morning. This is a very elite audience because you have come by choice, not just you wandered into this room. So this is not for a surgeon alone. This is for any doctor, maybe for any person. Okay, eating is something so quintessential part of your well-being, and that we have been noticing, understanding, and researching of late nowadays. I think everybody has probably got into that mode. So some food for thought, and you had your breakfast, but still let me feed you something. Just look at this. No, this is not some knowledge. Every knowledge in the world, most of it is refurbished, recycled. There is nothing new knowledge, nothing novelty in it. Everybody knows everything. I'm just trying to put across so you just think about it. We always eat more than what we need. You suddenly start doing intermittent fasting, start skipping your dinner, you start feeling fabulous. That means probably you did all these years wrong by eating 3 times a day, 4 times a day, and whenever the food was served to you. Okay, like if I serve you a fresh samosa from outside, some would still eat it, okay, just to please me. So that's how it is. So we always eat more, and all animals, it has not been done in humans, but all time tested, trials have been done on all animals except humans. They are found that by restricting calories, the longevity of all animals improve. Simple fact. And we always thought that we eat more, we put on weight. This has been put to the dustbin. It is not calories in, calories out anymore. Just think about it. There are people who eat a lot, still stay thin. People who hardly eat anything. The people weighing 150 kgs and say, I eat only 1 roti a day. But how is it possible? So, but that to explains all this. And we found that it is the infrequent eating which can be evolutionarily explained. It is always better than frequent feeds. I think we should be having only one eating time in the conference, not multiple times. You should not be serving tea, biscuits round the clock. Okay, that says that conference is very good. Ideally, you should eat less frequently. Eat well, eat heartily. Don't look at the calories. Instead of eating small feeds multiple times a day, and it's been proved that that is the way our body works. It has an evolutionary perspective too. And of course, everything what has been said, well-being, health, longevity, stress-free, disease-free life, body fitness, everything is linked to eating. You can't exclude this part from your well-being. Make sure of that. And it's easy to understand that what has changed in the last 100, 200, 300 years is that we have been eating refined carbohydrates, starchy, vegetables, fruits, which are all, a lot of genetic engineering has been made into that, and a lot of refined carbohydrates. They are the villain of the century. That is the core point of all our problems. And we have now linked food to aging, inflammation, disease, and premature death. Food linked to everything, including inflammation. And obviously, we have excuses in our culture. Like, okay, we eat, everybody has got a sweet tooth. We go to a house, we take a packet of peda or some mithai or some, which has been cultural. Okay, it has been cultural. Now you see street shops everywhere, pastry shops everywhere, bakeries everywhere. Okay, fast foods everywhere. That is this culture is really going to affect us very soon. And please understand, it's the insulin that is the center of everything. Insulin is a growth hormone. It is not linked to only carbohydrate metabolism. Having excess insulin is the peril of the day, and you don't have to look at your HbA1c. Please look at your fasting insulin. That is for your sugars to rise, it takes a long time. If your fasting insulin is high, that means your body is trying to produce more insulin to keep your sugars down. Your sugar's perfect. You may have 5.5 HbA1c. It doesn't say anything about your carbohydrate metabolism. Look at the insulin. Start looking for your fasting insulin. That says it all. It may take 10 years of impaired, or higher fasting insulin levels before you become a diabetic or a pre-diabetic to showing higher blood sugar levels. So that is the whole idea. We are actually not looking at it. We suddenly became a diabetic. No, this was decided 10 years ago. You always had a high insulin. And this insulin is key to fat loss. If you want to lose weight, why you're not losing weight? Just because your insulin is too high. Insulin is an anabolic hormone. It is a very potent inhibitor of lipolysis. You can never lose fat if your insulin drive is high. And all the diet interventions directly or indirectly are linked to your insulin reduction. So just look at that factor. That is good enough to understand what is going wrong with us. So what we surgeons, long hours of work, we always, put ourselves in the highest pedal so that we are extremely hardworking. Obviously, in your ophthalmic surgery, you don't really burn weight. You are not doing a lot of physical activity. And we do 4 cases. We get into stress. We take a break, eat some junk food. We take caffeine. Caffeine is another overrated thing. No coffee. I'm a coffee junkie. Nothing. So all this, there is nothing, no greatness about telling that you are addicted to something. Okay, addict yourself to exercise and healthy habits, not some food stuff. Okay, not a beverage. And obviously you cannot maintain, this is another myth of a surgeon. We say that, "Arey, mera list bahut bada hai, 25 cases, I can't take a break, so I can't eat at the time that is prescribed." So this is all wrong. You need to maintain a particular thing, and obviously you have that audacity. I'm a doctor, I know what's happening. So you normally turn a blind eye to the very obvious glaring concepts, and still you continue to be like anybody else, maybe worse than a common man in trying to follow some myths. Obviously partying, we always had party last 3-4 days, and this binge eating in a social thing. We never look at calories when you are partying because we say it's a cheating. So we cheat too much. And conferences, CMEs, of course, I need not probably make you more guilty. Okay, so this happens, and sometimes the patients and sometimes with me or students bring in, like, they want to please us, they bring some sweets, and it's too sheer we are lazy. We are already told that we think that we are too busy in our profession. And this is the whole idea. I think this is the greatest conspiracy of the century. We always demonized fat, and we pumped in carbohydrates in it, and it is fat is, so like what is, we have found that it is the protein and the fat which do not drive insulin or the healthiest primary foodstuffs. There's an essential fatty acids, essential amino acids. Is there an essential carbohydrate? No, never. Carbohydrate is not essential. We can always produce any carbohydrate from the raw material. We cannot produce some amino acids or some fatty acids. That means we are pumping with carbohydrates which are not essential to the body. It has an evolutionary perspective. When living, let's say, about 2 million years ago in the jungle, we were basically, when we invented hunting, okay, see, we are not herbivorous, we are not carnivorous. There's always a confusion. We are omnivorous. We lived through the perils of evolution. Why dinosaurs became extinct and we are at the top of the food chain now? Because we developed an ability to eat anything, the bark of the tree to a larva, to a fish, to even a woolly mammoth. We could kill, we could harvest, there was no agriculture. We could eat anything and everything and survived. And since we started hunting, the fat content of the foodstuff was better, our brain improved, our CNS improved. That's why we could go on to the top of the pyramid. So please understand what constituted your food of 2 million years ago will decide your body, not what you did 200 years ago. Your starch, maida, white flour came only 200 years ago. Your sugar and pasta, pizza. But what we ate for 2 million years, we hunted. When we hunt and eat, it's all fat and protein. No carbohydrate, no insulin. So our insulin was a very dormant hormone. Our beta cells had no work. Now you start pumping in sugar, pizza, pasta to a 2-year-old kid. By the time it is 30 years, all the beta cells are gone. So you have a diabetes at 30 years, you don't know what did it, you did it. And vegetarianism, this is again another one thing. So all the cultural things, religious things, fanatism basically disrupts the facts. We become blurry when you look into these cultural and religious aspects, that it is not that we are not basically vegetarian. I mean, please accept the fact. Your body has been, you are an omnivorous, accept that. You may be eating anything now. So please try to fit into the actual facts so that you don't really, get out of the things. So proteins, of course, amino acids, you should know. There's a mix and match. If you are a pure vegetarian, rice has some 5 of the 10 amino acids that you need, whereas you have rajma, pulses, lentils has some other. So mix, okay, rice and rajma chawal will get you all the 10. So there is some mix and match you need to do. Eating the same thing all over again, if you do not, you should eat a rainbow. Even if you're a vegetarian, vegan, eat a rainbow. Don't repeat the same thing. All 7 days, you eat all 7 different things, you will be able to make it up. And of course, the best thing is egg. The least that you can probably do is start eating egg. I am promoting egg very openly because that is one protein which is a 100% absolute 100% complete protein. It's a standard against which all proteins are compared. You got all amino acids. You have that yellow part, which is actually an essential thing. It gives you calories, okay, and zero carbohydrate. Your insulin never has a spike when you eat an egg. So that you can eat up to 3 to 4 eggs a day. No, I mean, it will not come and clog your arteries. Don't worry. That has been already disproved. Okay, you have other things to make it up if you don't eat an egg. And obviously, a lot of diets, and each diet excludes some foodstuffs. So basically, you look at a diet which reduces the eating window. That will make so that you have you have a hormone called glucagon. Let me remind you, which was never used. You have been eating every 2 hours. You're picking up a cup of coffee, having a toffee, having a biscuit, eating again. Every 2-3 hours, your insulin is being pumped so much. Okay, you eat one biscuit, half a biscuit, half cup of tea, even with milk, without sugar, also will kick your insulin up. But when did you use your glucagon? We have always an evolutionary thing. We went out for hunting in the morning. By afternoon, we hunted. We sat around at 4 p.m. all around the fire or whatever, and we ate one hearty meal. That was the thing. No refrigeration, no breakfast, no evening dinners, no 7-course dinners, nothing. We always ate in evolution one big meal, and later there was nothing to eat. So we had to eat once. And all the insulin that was there produced once, and rest the glucagon took care of. Our glycogen stores were getting depleted. We never deplete our glycogen, not definitely fat. So also try to look for calorie consumption. That is also important, but that is not the only thing. Your eating window becomes more important. So basically, lastly, you do have this sattvic, rajasic and tamasic foods. If you really believe in that, that's our ancient wisdom. Please have anything that has a low glycemic index in the morning. You are a surgeon going to the OT, okay, don't eat a cake and go. Okay, don't eat something made out of maida and go. That will get burnt off within 2 hours because the insulin kicks in. By 11 o'clock you are hungry, you have a list up to 2 o'clock. Eat an egg or 2 eggs in the morning, it will take you through. That means there is no insulin, it doesn't kick insulin up. Your blood sugar level slowly rises, it's a low GI, low glycemic index, and you are very comfortable. By 11 o'clock, you are cranky, groggy, because your insulin is very high, your blood sugars are hitting rock bottom, and you start shouting at the sister. Okay? So, chronobiology, I think this is the last thing I'm going to tell. Read about chronobiology. That is the thing, the diurnal variation. How our body clock is being recognized to be more important than any time in the world. Like now we know that our body, the time that we eat, the time we sleep, the sleep cycle, okay, why you have to get up and go in the sun in the morning? Because we have some receptors in our retina which are linked to the biological clock. What tells our brain the time of the day? You are locked up somewhere, complete darkness, not anywhere, still you sleep at the same time, get up at the same time. There is some clock inside. So there is so many other things, both visual and non-visual stimuli, and if you wreck this biological clock, you are going to be in trouble. That is the whole problem. And obviously, you have plant-based diets and vegan diets. And finally, this is very important, the last slide of mine has been told, it cannot be overemphasized. Your exercise and diet has to go hand in hand. It's not one over the other, both working together. And obviously you need to spiritual health, your emotional well-being. Dr. Sanmin, you heard Dr. Bhujang Shetty's talk about it that was presented here. And obviously if you are stressful, what is your resting heart rate? You're always at 90, what is the point? You are getting stressed about everything. Your cortisol levels are high, your blood sugars are high, so your BP will be high. So what is the point of burning yourself out for things that are not going to last? So I think at some point of time, you will have a PC rent, you will have a nucleus drop, you will have an endophthalmitis, you will have a unhappy patient. That is fine, but that should not raise your cortisol. Okay, please understand that you have a long life to live, and if you are not healthy, what's the point of having all the things around you? So that is the biggest pleasure, the biggest virtue, the biggest reward, or probably the biggest possession that you can have in your life that you shall reach is, so only if you are rich, from the things what the money cannot buy. I think it is the health which money cannot buy. Thank you very much.